Hey, I actually don't use this angle super often, but should be a relatively quick video, so we'll go for it. I watched the new episode of Pokemon. This was the Squirtle Squad episode, and the new episode of Trails Northern War. This was the basically, this was the Ironblood episode. So talking about Pokemon first, I liked this episode. I didn't love it quite as much as I wanted to, but there were definitely parts I really loved. So the basic plot is Team Rocket is now managing the Squirtle Squad, and they're basically like a Super Sentai team, which, okay, I fucking love that. And they're like selling Squirtle Squad merch. They're all wearing the sunglasses. There's points where I'm like seeing Wobbuffet wearing the Squirtle's glasses. I'm like, that. I love that. I love that so much. I never knew I needed this until I had it. Essentially, Ash and crew were like, "Oh, yo, Squirtle's in town. Let's go see the show." And so he throws out Bulbasaur and Charizard. So I have to say, one of the things I didn't love about it is what? Who else was traveling with Ash at this time? Like, come on, guys. Like, I want to make sure all of Ash's team like gets to show up in this show. And like in the Hatterene episode, there was nobody. In this episode, there's at least two other people. And I mean, I guess you could say Squirtle counts for one of the slots. I mean, he's not on the party, but it's still one of Ash's Pokemon showing up. I mean, come on, you should have had at least two other people. Could have had, like, Kingler and Muck, like, really bringing it back to Kanto. I know I was talking, I was like, man, like, could you imagine if he just, like, had Pidgeot with him in this episode? Like, he got him off screen, like, how crazy that would be. And I am not disappointed at all that it didn't happen, because, yeah, that was 1000% wishful thinking. But it would have been nice for at least someone else to show up. But at the same time, I can't be super mad because it's Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Squirtle. And Pikachu. Like, they've been homies since the beginning. So if anyone else, you can argue, it's like, it just wouldn't have worked as well because they would have just been there to be there without actually serving the purpose of the episode. And granted, you can kind of say that about most of Ash's Pokemon now when they're showing up in the rotation. It's just nice to see them. But they're really just there to be there. But since they weren't really there in Journeys proper, like, I'm glad they're finally getting it, which I don't really... I can't not be mad at Journeys every time I watch this shit, 'cause I'm like, wow, you're really giving me the show I kind of wanted to watch for the last 11 episodes. Thanks. But regardless. Essentially, so Squirtle does the show. He sees them in the crowd. He gets really fucking happy to see his trainer, his old traveling companion, and his boys. So after the show, Ash and crew try to go see Squirtle, but their managers, which is now Team Rocket, is like, "Whoa, Squirtle's really busy. We got other shit to do. Fuck off." So they're like, man, like, we really wanted to see our boy, but if he's busy, he's busy. We understand. We're happy for him. We'll just head out. Squirtle sees them heading out without coming to see him. So he's feeling really, like, shafted. He's kind of like, what the hell, man? Like, we haven't seen each other in years. We have this fateful encounter, and you don't even come to say hi? Man, like, he's really hurt, and and it pisses him off, too. So then they end up running into him in a restaurant. Bulbasaur and Charizard go up to him. They're like, "Yo, what's up, Squirtle? Like, man, we haven't seen you in a long time. The show was great. How you doing?" And Squirtle's just giving him the cold shoulder, so Charizard gets pissed off. The two of them start going at it. Bulbasaur tries to calm him down. Squirtle gets pissed at him, too. Pikachu ends up getting even more mad at everyone. Just that shot of Pikachu, just with this really pissed off look on his face, just charging up the electricity, was actually really funny. That happens. Team Rocket tries to capture Pikachu. It fails hilariously. When one thing leads to another, they end up causing a fire in the town. So, of course, the Squirtle Squad, being the Squirtle Squad, go to fight the fire. Ash and Co. go to help. Bulbasaur and Charizard are still pissed at Squirtle, so they don't want to help. It's a little earlier in the episode. It's before the fire starts. There's a part where they're all just kind of having flashbacks of just Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Squirtle hanging out with Pikachu. And I'm like, this warms my fucking heart. I love that shit. I love this trio. Again, this quartet, but like the starter trio. They've been together a long time. Seeing them together is great. I don't like seeing them just fighting most of the episode, but it's nice to see them. And like the flashbacks were really sweet. When the fire happens, Bulbasaur and Charizard are still pissed, so they don't want to help. And I'm like, okay, I know you guys are kind of mad, but there's literally a fire going on. I mean, eventually they're like, all right, we have to fucking help. I'm like, come on, dude. I know you're pissed at Squirtle, but Squirtle's out here trying to do shit. You can at least, I don't know, find some way to help. And if the argument is, well, I mean, how's Charizard gonna fight a fire? He's a fire type. How's Bulbasaur gonna fight a fire? He's a grass type. Like, that's fair. But it's not written as, man, we can't help because we're literally incapable. It's, no, we just don't want to because we're salty. And then they end up helping anyways, but I didn't really catch what Bulbasaur was doing. He was just, like, razor leafing some shit. And then Charizard, like, I'm actively, like, the fire is spreading, so I'm using my, like, wings to beat the fire away so it doesn't spread as much. Like, that made sense. Then there's some Pokemon that get caught in the fire, and so the trio go, save the Pokemon, everyone's cool again. The Squirtle Squad end up leaving, getting escorted away. And there's this little bit, like, right at the end of the episode, Squirtle takes off his sunglasses, his eyes are all sparkly, he just runs into Ash's arms and gives him a hug. And that's the freeze frame the episode ended on. I'm like, fuck, I love that so much. Did not make me cry, but I felt it. I was like, oh, I felt that. That's a really good ending. So, I really liked the episode because I got to see, like, my OG crew. Oh, there's also a part where Misty and Krogunk team up to interfere with Brock hitting on Officer Jenny, and that was really funny. It's like, kind of like Wobbuffet in the glass. It's like the team up I never knew I needed, but now I'm really glad I got. I liked the interaction. I guess that's the thing. I liked the idea in some of their interactions, but the fact that, yeah, with the circumstances behind the episode, they're basically just being mad at each other for 20 minutes. I don't love that. It's not terrible by any means, but I was hoping for just something more pleasant, more just heartwarming, and I did get it. It's not like I had to go through a lot of bullshit to get there, but it was like just enough to not be my favorite. My favorite episode so far is probably the Hatterene episode because of just how funny it was. I really, really liked the Beartick episode. I feel like by the end, I'm going to look back on the Beartick one and be like, okay, so we didn't catch anything. There were no, like, old returning, like, there's Pokemon in rotation, but no no abandoned Pokemon we're catching up on, no traveling companions returned. This is a filler episode, but I really liked it, so I just can't be mad at it. But I did like this one. It looks like next week's episode is, like, Pikachu and Meowth get separated from everyone and have to, like, hang out and survive together, which is, I don't know, like, the second or third time they've done that premise. So again, it's like, it doesn't look like there's gonna be any old friends, both Pokemon or trainers, returning, so we'll see how it goes. It already looks like this is gonna be the episode that makes me go, this one is filler. I got nothing out of it, but for all I know, it'll be, like, really funny, it might be really heartwarming, maybe I will see someone, I don't know. So moving on from Pokemon, moving on to Northern War. As I have said pretty much every time I've talked about this show, I am a Trails fan. I fucking love these games, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. I get to hear Trails music in the show. That makes me happy. I get to see recurring characters. I finally got to see Claire, because I was like, I don't know if she's gonna be in the show. It's weird to me to have all the other Ironbloods and for her to not make an appearance, but I don't know what she'd be doing, but we got to see her. It wasn't for super long, but I was like, cool. You made your requisite appearance. All the Ironbloods have shown up. We actually got all 4 in this episode. Like, that makes me happy. Also, I don't know if this is a hot take. It shouldn't be, but Claire is gorgeous. So I'm just always happy to see her. It's like, I genuinely like her character. Don't love how she was handled in Cold Steel 4. Because I feel like she and Duvali could be really interesting foils to each other. But it just didn't quite work for me. At least, like, the way it was written. But I feel like there's a way it really could have worked a lot better. At least, again, from my perspective. But it's like, I'm always happy to see her because I like the character. But I'm always happy to see her because, damn, she is fine as hell. In the last episode, I was afraid. I was petrified that Lavi had lost her hat, but she did not lose her hat. I'm like, I like the hat. I'm a simple guy, as I've said. What do I like? What to me is good character design? Coats, jackets, and a nice hat. Which does make me a little upset with Altina's design, because the Cold Steel 2 design, which I don't love, because I really like the Cold Steel 3 design. I love her hat. It just looks so good. But Milliam has a nice hat, though, so that works. Like, I was just happy to see them and seeing them interact. Like, this is fun. I like seeing the Orion sisters doing shit together. And I'm generally someone who is like, okay, they're after our new protagonists. They're after the Northern Jaegers. They're trying to catch them. And it's like, okay, you have 2 members of the intelligence division teaming up to catch one person, and the person is able to escape. That's the kind of shit I don't always love about Trails. Like, they're pretty good about making characters' job to make newer characters look better. And I don't love it. But here it didn't bother me. Because, like, no, I 100% believe that Milliam and Altina would not work super well together, given just how vastly different their personalities are. And they haven't had a lot of time to actually get teamwork down. So, like, no, I buy this. And yeah, Milliam's never been my favorite character, but I generally don't actively dislike her. And here, just seeing her on a mission and actively having fun, like, this makes sense. This is a good time. I always like Lecter. Okay, not always, because again, I don't love the way he's written in Cold Steel 4. I 100% think he peaked in Crossbell, but like this was a bit more Crossbell Lecter. I liked that a lot. We're definitely inching closer to the war actually breaking out, which is what I'm really looking forward to. Like, I want to see more of Northumbria, learn more about, like, about their lore, their history, their culture. That's what I was really looking forward to in the show. I was looking forward to that, some specific moments, and some cameos. Definitely getting my cameos. I'm getting some of what I wanted from Northumbria. I still want more, and we're still getting closer to, like, the crazy shit that I'm really, really, really looking forward to. They talked about the raising of Keldic, which I had forgotten that was done by the Northern Jaegers. It was like, oh, as soon as they kind of brought it up, I was like, oh, right, because when you go to Berea, Hard and Cold Steel 2, to confront the Duke about what he did, the Northern Jaegers are there, and that's when you get all of Sarah's backstory, so it all makes sense, it all tracks. I just didn't even think about it. And so the fact that, like, oh no, it's important, I appreciated that. I appreciated the callback and everything. Again, I don't know how well this show watches for a non-Trails fan. If the show is, like, really good, if it's interesting, or if it's just kind of okay. But, as I keep saying, as someone who really likes these characters and the world, and who knows where the story is going, I'm really excited to get to that. So given all of, like, the returning characters in this episode, this was definitely one of my favorites. But, we'll see how it goes. I know what my favorite episode is going to be. I don't know when it will happen. I don't think it would be the season finale. Because I feel like, no, you have to do that scene, and then you have to do some shit after it. So it would probably be like the penultimate, maybe anti-penultimate episode. But I'm really excited to talk about it when that eventually happens.